Hello, YouTubers. Joe Kersey here on Sunday, December 30th, 2018 at 14:40 in the afternoon Eastern Time. God bless us all. Well, of course, we're in the run-up to the old New Year's thing. Uh, I believe the Scottish folks call it Hogmanay, uh, which probably translates into 2 to 3 day drunk. I tell you, I've never really made a big deal about New Year's. I mean, oh, it's just another day. To me, Christmas Day was always just another day. Well, except it's the birthday of our Lord Jesus Christ. But in terms of all the associated social hoo-ha, because I always worked on Christmas Day. I always volunteered to work Christmas Day. So, yeah. I understand why people like it. But, just not for me. I like, any morning out at night, I don't want to go traipsing out to church at night either. So. Leaving aside the physical logistics of getting one's bod that has problems out and about, knowing that I was going to read at 8, I got up at 3 because it takes me 5 hours to get, so I feel like I can get functioning anymore. And so by the time I had to leave at 7, I was doing pretty well. So now today, apparently our rector's off somewhere. I don't know if he's on vacation or he's sick or he's at one of these conferences where they all stare into their navel and talk about discerning and perceiving and things like that. So we had Deacon Jackie Burns, who she's one of our very own. She got ordained out of our congregation as a deacon some years back. She does a lot of work with reentry. She at the Marysville Women's Prison. She does a lot of work with them as far as getting them back integrated into the community and getting them jobs and things like that. And she and another woman in our church are very much involved in this ministry. I guess the overriding name for it is Kairos, but she actually has I don't know if she still has a paid position up there at the prison or not, but she spends a lot of time with the prison working with these, women inmates. And she'll go up and conduct religious services for them, let them know that, people haven't given the crap up on them, So we were going to do morning prayer because she can't, do the thing over the bread and wine and have communion. I'll tell you, the U.S. Episcopal Church morning prayer service it ain't anything to write home about. Unlike the 1662 Book of Common Prayer morning prayer services. Assuming you don't read the prayers with this long pause at the asterisks. Let those with ears hear over there, wherever you are in England, running those services. First couple of years I went to Durham, they did morning prayer. You'd read the first line of the prayer to the asterisks, and then there'd be like this long halt, and you're thinking, and then you'd read the other line, and it just got so annoying. I just couldn't go to morning prayer. Now it's interesting. The people that ran evening prayer didn't do that. I assume there's more or less the same people that rotate around a bit. Anyway, Uh, and of course, the great thing about the English church is they do at least 3 or 4 psalms. Of course, we just do one in the horrible. Well, it's not even the NRSV version of the Psalms. It's some altered thing that the Episcopal Church came up with on its own. I mean, this is like, you got to find work for some of these people. You really do. Because, why? It's like, why ruin something? You have the Coverdale Psalms. They've worked since the 1500s. Why do we have to horse with them? I'm going to tell you, the Coverdale Psalms are perfectly comprehensible, regardless of whether it is modern language and inclusive language crap. All right. So anyway, this is the first time I'd actually read and assisted at a morning prayer service, from the platform, doing it for real, and so Jackie and I had a little powwow. I wanted to find out what she wanted me to do, and I wanted to be sure what she was going to do. So we got that all squared away, and it went off pretty well, actually. Yeah. So, now, of course, I got there at 7:10 and waited until somebody could show up and unlock the church. That's another little thing. I mean, I think all the lay readers ought to have a key at least to get into the church. She had a key to get into the church. She did not have a key, actually, that worked to get into the sanctuary. Although she had a key to get into the sacristy, where all her stuff is, And so I said, okay, I'm going to take my life in my hands now. I'm going to go down in the basement. And I went down to the basement, went through the basement. It's dark down there. I mean, there aren't any lights in parts of that basement, okay? And then I had to go up the staircase from the basement into to the very front entry hall of the church. I mean, it's like dark. I mean, you could develop film in that hall. You could develop film in that staircase. I mean, it's that dark. You have the handrails on each side, thank God, because otherwise I wouldn't have gotten up. And fortunately, the steps, the part you have like you step up, step up, step up. The part that's horizontal, that was long enough that I could get my entire foot on it and get my toe against the up part of the next step. And so I was able to know where I was in terms of, getting up there. And that thing went up a lot longer than I thought. I mean, that's about a 15-foot staircase down there from the basement up. And plus what they have is, it's odd thing, you get up to the top, and then there's like a step down to get to the doors. Who's this? Oh, I must stop for a moment. I will be back. I have now finished my conversation with my good friend, who lives about 15 miles south of me, who got back from Germany here about 2 or 3 days ago. And, well, he's kind of a quasi-patient, so I can't really talk too much more about that. But we got talking about some stuff that we had, as we say, encountered together, in earlier times. And, yeah, it's always fun to talk with him. But let's just summarize, So I got up, up the steps. I turned on the lights. All was safe and well. Unlocked the doors. We had a total of 8 people at morning prayer today. That includes Deacon Jackie Burns, myself. and 6 other people. And I'd have to say this is almost a new indoor record for the 8 o'clock service, because generally we generally always have 10 to 12 or 12 to 13 or 14 people. But again, it's the first time I'd ever done this. I mean, in a way, I mean, the service is designed for any lay person to lead the service. I don't know. There are a couple of things the lay person can't do. The lay person can't do the forgiveness of sins after the confession. I don't know if the lay person can do the benediction or not. I think they can. The diocese offers it's called a worship leader course, which a few years back somebody said, "Oh, you ought to do that. It's only like 2 days." I said, okay, fine, but that idea wasn't followed up upon either by me or by the other person, and they actually have a lay or had, I don't know, that's intermittent, a lay preacher course, which is about a 6-month, every 2-week course, which I thought about doing at one point. But the diocese didn't really seem committed to it, and you have to get recommended. And I think Charles Wilson at that point might have recommended me, but the hooker on that, the proviso at that point, was that you had to come from a congregation that didn't have a lot of preaching resources. Well, ours did. I mean, we had 5 resident clergy. So, nonetheless, some guy from our parish went out there and took the course, and he actually gave a sermon. He gave a sermon on the first Monday of Easter week, well, Holy Week, not Easter week, and he gave a movie review of Hunger Games. Let's repeat that. His sermon for Monday of Holy Week was a movie review of Hunger Games. On the other hand, on Thursday of Holy Week, Monday, Thursday of Holy Week, we had one of the lay preachers come in and do an incredible sermon about the power of the cross in people's lives. So, yin yang, yin yang. Ridiculous sublime. When I was getting really into this back between 2009 and 2013, I wrote several sermons in my little notebooks. Most of which are up on my internet site, joeskersey.com, among other things. And, well, anyway, so essentially all eventually went well. Yay! Nobody fell down, nobody got injured, church happened, God was worshipped. So I went down to Walmart and bought some stuff. I bought like 6 pounds of Polish sausage. I bought 8 or 9 pounds of Italian sausage. I bought 8 pounds of cheese. Bought a huge bunch of toilet paper, huge bunch of paper towels. which I don't run through a lot. But when you're out, you're out, you know. And a gallon of vinegar. I used to run through about 2 gallons of vinegar a month, but I don't do that as much anymore. What else? Oh, and some tea, a lot of tea, because I'm almost completely out of tea. I think, what else did I? Well, I looked for trash bags, but I think I'm going to have to order those off the website for Walmart.com because their trash bag section is pretty much depleted. I suppose this time of year you might expect that. What was wrapping presents and all. I think that pretty much accounts for the day. Yeah. I texted my son while I was in. I said about wine and at Giant Eagle after church. In addition to going to Walmart, and I got about the 4 boxes of not Almaden. Yeah, Almaden Cabernet, 5-liter boxes. And then I bought 2 3-liter boxes of this black box stuff that Hillbilly 101 Reviews has been recommending. It was Pinot Noir. So I'm looking forward to start to trying that here next couple of weeks. So I'm glad to have been put onto that by John from Louisville and Hillbilly 101. I think he's changed his channel name. I'm probably not being accurate on that. So I'm glad to have that little. That's the first time I've seen black box in Giant Eagle, by the way. Oh, and so while I was checking out, my favorite cashier came up. Well, he's now a floor man. He's now an assistant manager. He came up and he chatted with me, and then we got chatting with the cashier who was checking me out, and saw my hat, which is the Liberty Creek Farms, Palo, Ohio hat that my friend Mike McKay gave me. I worked with Mike McKay. He's an anesthesiologist. Well, he's a retired anesthesiologist, but you're always an anesthesiologist particularly if you've gotten grandfathered in. My certificate's 1980, so I'm grandfathered in, so I'm always an anesthesiologist. Now, obviously, if I were to go back and try to practice anesthesia, I have to spend a couple of months shadowing people to learn the new drugs and see what's going on, get a little refresher. And then some hospital would probably let me have privileges. But no, you can't just go back into it. I mean, I wouldn't want to. I mean, I'd want to know what's going on. I mean, things have changed. But in anesthesia, things really don't change. You got to breathe. You got to have a fucking heartbeat. You got to make sure they're not feeling pain. You got to make conditions for the surgeon great. Anything else on that is pretty much extra. And don't kill them, and don't paralyze them, and don't harm them. That's another good thing not to do, or to do, depending on the essence of that verb I just said. Liz came over last night, and she brought 2. Was it last night or the night before last? Night before last. I may have mentioned this. No, I haven't. Brought over a huge batch of great beef that Henry had cut, and so I ate about a third of it right off the bat after she left. I ate some more last night. It's really good. So it's got all this great marbled fat in it. I'm loving it. I'll have a little bit more tonight. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, Christmas season moves on apace. All this New Year's hoo-ha. I never understood the big deal about New Year's. It's another day. It's like here's. See, look, it says here, 30, 2018, Monday, 2018. 2019, big deal. Listen, I like a good drinking session as much as the next guy, probably more, but come on. I never did get into, what we did, in high school, we'd go over to somebody's house and we'd play like nickel poker. Like that kind of thing. Or nickel blackjack. Nickel blackjack was even better when I said I wanted to be the bank. Since because I was a bank, I always came out on top because the house always comes out on top. I guess I was that because I had a lot of change or something. I don't know. Or maybe because they trusted me to be fair. We generally did over this guy's house. I won't tell you his name, but the guy's dad was absolutely bald. I mean, like bald, not like shaved head bald, like bald, like hair fell out, alopecia bald, because he had brucellosis as a kid because he drank unpasteurized milk. Now, sometimes you can drink unpasteurized milk and get away with it. In fact, most of the time you can. But he got brucellosis from unpasteurized milk, and he lost all his hair. He had large febrile, big febrile illness, lost his hair. And I'll say over the years he developed an identity for himself called, I won't tell you his name. Let's see, I'll give you the initials, GCK. And then he always styled himself, he actually styled himself this way, leader of youth. GCK, leader of youth. What he was he ran the mortgage department at Home Federal Bank in Lebanon, Ohio. But he was also GCK, leader of youth. Well, I'll tell you, I've been a youth. Yes, I have been a youth. I'm going to tell you right now, this man was no more a leader of me. But I'm a pilgrim on the passage to the damn moon, His son got an ungodly amount of grief. And to my shame, I have to admit that one time in 7th grade, I think the statute of limitations run out. Because I've lived in Ohio, continually enough. One time in the hallway, this guy was in front of me, and I thought, I'm just going to stick the compass, remember compasses, where you drew circles and shit? A point on it. I stuck that thing into his back, through his clothes. I could feel it crunch into what I then learned later was cancellous bone of his spinous process. Damn, I would have fucked up a spinal even then. And interestingly enough, he didn't seem to flinch. Well, it's not a heavily innervated area. What was a more heavily innervated area was when he sat next to me in 7th grade science class. I can't remember the guy's name who was our teacher. But the thing was, every now and again, you could take this compass point, and if he's right next to you, he always liked to be one of these expansion dudes. Like the expansions. It's like the European Union expanding. So he'd get all his shit coming over toward my half of the two guy desk. I stab that thing down into the fat part of his hand there. Not often. I know. I'm ashamed. I confess. I'm ashamed. I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not that sorry. I mean, because, come on, some people just ask for this stuff. Okay. Merry Christmas. I'm not a fucking angel. Never said I was. I've sinned against you in thought, word, and deed. Actually, those are, I don't have a lot of deeds to tell you stories about on that kind of stuff. But those are... I do remember the crunch, the very satisfying crunch of that compass point into the cancellous bone of that spinous process. How did we get here? Well, so, not talking to Tony Pincham tonight on Skype. Probably tomorrow at, well, let's see, 11:45 their time, GMT time. This would be 18:45 Eastern Time, U.S. Really good roast beef belch on that one, I'm telling you. So we'll see on that. I mean, his brother-in-law and sister are going to be there, and maybe I can we'll Skype with the three of them together. That'd be fun. Watch all the New Year hoo-ha come in, and at least on their side of the Atlantic. Yeah, so all in all, it's been a good day. I'm all set for food for next 3 months or more. Well, 3 months anyway. Everything went off without a physical, fall, even though I was exploring in the dark. I was telling you, I started telling you about these people talking about they wanted to buy. The people at the Giant Eagle were interested about, the Black Angus that my friend raised, and so we got talking about that, and we had a nice little conversation. See, we had to wait 2 minutes for the time to turn to 10 o'clock so Giant Eagle would sell me wine, because we're in the state of Ohio. Well, more to the point, we're in the state of this particular precinct in the state of Ohio that has that quirk of the alcohol laws. I think I've bloviated on enough now, so I'll shut up. So I'm going to say bye to YouTubers, and y'all have a good New Year's, whatever that entails, which I assume most of the time entails keeping safe. All right, bye-bye.